this is Boki, and today I'm going to be reviewing Unfuck Your Habitat by Rachel Hoffman. So Unfuck Your Habitat is based on the Tumblr of the same name, which is essentially a guide to keeping your house clean. And I have followed the Tumblr before. I find it to be a really good source of advice, so I was really excited of the book and actually bought it when it came out. I think the strength, and maybe kind of the entire point of Unfuck Your Habitat, is that it is mercenary but also very understanding. So I think it's very clear that like you gotta clean your house, but I think it's also done with an awareness that for a lot of people there are different levels of ability when it comes to cleaning, whether it's because of mental or physical limitations, or also just like straight up not knowing what to do, or time and kids and having other people around. So I think a lot of what Unfuck Your Habitat is about is not just how do you clean, but also how do you create a successful strategy for cleaning. So I think it's a lot more kind of whole perspective than just like, you know, do the specific action and your house will be clean. The main approach, I think, of Unfuck Your Habitat is, as I would summarize it, would be do few things often as opposed to doing the big marathon cleans that I think a lot of us do. For example, when we're like, oh shit, my whole house is a mess, I'm gonna clean everything in one weekend and then it's gonna be good, and then of course a month later it's completely messy again. These things range from what Unfuck Your Habitat calls 2010s, where you work for 20 minutes, take 10 minutes rest, the basic principle of putting things back where they belong, making your bed every morning, as well as kind of what are mini challenges, which in this book they have kind of scattered throughout the chapters, just like little mini challenges of, you know, pick 5 things off the nearest surface. Some of these basic ideas I think you can get from their Tumblr, and I will link to the Tumblr below if you want to get a sense of what Unfuck Your Habitat is like. And you can get a lot of similar challenges and advice. I think this is a really good centralized resource for the Unfuck Your Habitat philosophy, especially if you just like having a book that you can kind of quickly grasp at to like remind yourself like, how the fuck do I keep my house clean? Moreover, I think this book talks about a lot of about how to apply the principles of Unfuck Your Habitat to other areas of your life, not just, you know, keeping your house clean, but things like keeping your computer desktop clean, or approaching your work in a productive way. So inevitably this book, and really any book about cleaning that comes out, especially any popular one, will probably be compared to The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. I think even on the back of Unfuck Your Habitat there's like a comparison in the blurbs. I think it's fair to compare them, but I think for me, having read both of them, these books actually are very good resources kind of side by side. I think the major difference is that Marie Kondo recommends doing your major original get ridding of shit stuff in one big marathon, which I think Unfuck Your Habitat would rightfully suggest that maybe not everyone can do that for whatever limitations. But after that, I actually think these books have a lot in common. I think with Marie Kondo's book, a lot of people fixate on the minimalism aspect, which, to be fair, it's a big chunk of what she's talking about. But I think the minimalism part, the part where you find, like, keep the things that spark joy, like, that's really only the starting point of that book. And there's a whole part of that book that's about, you know, what do you do when you've finally gotten rid of the stuff that you've realized you don't want in your house. That part of that book for me had a huge impact on how I approach things. And I remember I was reading that book and also reading Unfuck Your Habitat when it was just the Tumblr, and together they had a huge impact on how I treated my house, because it was just like, well, I've created this space that I really enjoy, how am I going to now maintain it? So I think there's actually a lot of commonality between these two books. I think both of these books kind of have a lot of commonality where it's the basic philosophy is create a space that you enjoy and you want to maintain, and treat your things with a certain level of respect. I think Unfuck Your Habitat actually is kind of a great follow-up in some ways to that book, because it has a lot of really good practical advice that Marie Kondo doesn't necessarily get into. She does have some, and I know that there's a follow-up book to Life-Changing Magic that I haven't read, so maybe that has more as well. But I think Unfuck Your Habitat has a lot of really good follow-up advice, like really grounded in reality, for like practical things like how to clean your bathroom, to other things that maybe you wouldn't think about, like how do you talk to your spouse if you're trying to encourage your whole house to be clean. The section at the end called resources, and it's really like these amazing set of lists for like things that you might not, you know, you might forget to clean in your house, like things like you might forget to clean in your kitchen, different ways to use vinegar to clean your house, different ways to how to clean, checklists for how to clean certain areas. I think it's a part of this book that is really, for me, really helpful, because sometimes when I'm cleaning my bathroom, I'm like, oh, if I wipe a few surfaces, like I'm good. But really it's like, oh, there's all these other parts of my bathroom that sometimes you forget about. So I think this is a really good book if you're someone who is overwhelmed by cleaning or is just trying to figure out a good way to apply some structure for it. I would recommend the book. I would recommend the Tumblr. There is also an Unfuck Your Habitat app for both Android and iPhone that can be really nice because it has timers for 2010s. It has like different mini challenges. So I think it's a really good, practical and grounded way to approach cleaning and really kind of make it less daunting. So yeah, especially if you're in the new year and you're like, I gotta keep my shit clean, you might as well start somewhere, and I would recommend this book. So yeah, bye.